And gravity's really our friend here on this one, which is what makes the
copyright
so awesome. So we're gonna do a safety squat good morning here, but we're gonna add a little variant to it to really hit the upper back. This is gonna be adding a band to the front here to try to pull Gavin forward. So a big thing that I want to critique on this right away is I want him to think about, instead of sitting back so much with his back, I want him to kind of let his upper body act a little more as a pendulum. So you're going to bend over more at the waist. So
Bands are no joke.
You're going to bend over a little more at the waist. Good. Okay. Yep. So think about getting your chest more parallel with the ground. There you go. And then come up, keep this squeezed. So what I don't want to do is have him compensate for this movement by just pushing back harder. Then he's not really using the bands as much. I want him to think about this as being more of a good morning, where he's actually putting himself more forward in the movement versus pushing his hips back. All right, go ahead and rack it. So first one's actually always the worst, because when we don't load this bar very much, it's a lot that band's pulling you. Actually, we add a little weight, it's gonna make it a little bit easier for him to actually manipulate this weight right away. But again, it's still gonna drive a lot of that strain to the upper back. So if you're used to doing a lot of weight on a good morning, I'll tell you right now, this is gonna be a lot less weight, because we're putting in a lot different strain in a different area than you're used to. So this upper back is gonna get really taxed on this one. So we're gonna roll with some glute ham raises here. We're gonna add a 3-second eccentric in this, really focused on, it's almost a negative. So we're doing basically a negative here, where I'm trying to overload the hamstrings and really have them hold on as he's lowering himself. He's gonna then drop the ball and come back up. If he can't come back up, I'm just gonna help him up then, okay? So go ahead and come on down. Hips forward. 1, 2, 3, drop up. There you go. Good. And then we're just gonna return the ball. Now I know he can do one of them. Let's go 5, okay? So 3, 2, 1, drop, up, okay? Back into it, 3, 2, 1, drop, up. Now Gabe, when he started here, go ahead, 3, 2, 1, drop, up. He couldn't even do one of these. 3, 2, 1, drop, up. Good, nice. So again, this is gonna be a really, really important movement, especially someone like Gabe, where he's gotta rely on speed, be able to catch a guy on the outside. Gabe plays outside linebacker, so he's got to be able to catch people on the edge. He's got to be able to move quick, and this glute ham raise is definitely going to help his speed out a lot. So this is going to be supplemental movements, so I'm going to try to keep him somewhere below 8 reps.
Yeah, usually keep him a little heavier.
Yes, we're going to do a little bit heavier with this.
Yep.
Plus, I really want him to feel that strain, and I'm looking again to make sure that his lower back isn't breaking. Okay, so we're gonna pick a good weight for him, but what I want to avoid is right at the end.
A little dip.
A little dip, yep. We're not getting that right now, so keep it contracted, keep everything tight. Good. And he actually won't feel like this is heavy weight to him. He's just gonna feel a shit ton of strain going on in general in his body, but really his upper back. So he's gonna rack and be like, okay, this is easy weight. But as he goes down, that band really starts pulling him forward, right? The gravity and those levers start messing with him and putting him in that disadvantage. He's gonna feel like, holy crap, this is a crap ton of weight, but it's only, 135, 155 on the bar. One of the big reasons I like the glute ham raise, and we can't really see the opportunity for it in this setup, one more, is with guys that aren't able to do a glute ham raise, that obviously becomes a really big deal, where you start going like, how am I supposed to build a movement if they can't do the movement with body weight? Well, what I would recommend for people that do have this glute ham raise, if they can set that up against the back wall, you can actually anchor in a carabiner on that wall. Now you start using a band where you wrap it around the front, kind of like they're wearing, like a sash, like they're prom queen or some shit. But they can put that around them, right? And now that provides a little bit more assistance to them, so they can get more out of that lift and start to build the pattern. So a little more forward, a little more forward. There you go. Squeeze the back, squeeze the back. Good. Now on this one, I can allow his head to go down a little bit more than it is. So go ahead and rack it. On this next set, I want you to think about maybe looking out more towards here. You're looking a little bit out far. You've got to, again, consider the idea that this is a bent over movement. So if I'm trying to stay neutral with my head and spine. If I'm going over like this, but my head starts creeping up here, now I'm no longer neutral, I'm in neck extension, okay? So I want you to pick a spot that's great, but now as we're going into a bent over movement, I want you to focus on something a little more in front of you and down, maybe 10 feet out, 15 feet out. So as you go down, you can keep your eyesight on that and you can keep that neck neutral, especially with this pad, because if you're trying to cram your neck into that pad, that's not gonna be as beneficial, and you're gonna feel that pad wanting to crush your neck. Yeah. So keep the chest up, pull the shoulders back, and keep that resistance right there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you about, if you have them kind of cue those shoulder blades down and back in that position.
Yes,
stabilize.
Absolutely,
yep.
Absolutely. 1, 2, 3, drop it. Good. One more. 1, 2, 3, and drop. Good, awesome.
And one of the best things about max effort work that kind of gets understated is that you get to see where a weakness is.
Absolutely.
Right away, right? You get to then focus in on how to fix that over time, right?
Yep.
Most people just think, oh, it's just heavy weight, whatever. But you can use that max effort to see what they need to work on specifically.
And that's really the whole goal of this. At the end of the day, look, if we're working with football athletes that are in high school, they need to be training in their own facility. They need to be training with their team, because at the end of the day, that builds teamwork, that builds trust in the team.
Yeah.
You know, we got 2 leaders that are going to be seniors this year on a really good football team. The last thing I want to do as a coach is pull them out of that
Take
environment.
them out of that environment. Yeah.
However, most strength programs in high schools are not geared towards their needs as individual, more elite athletes. Both of these guys are going to play D1 next year. So really what you're looking at is we need to make sure that what we're doing in our training is very specific to their needs and building up their weak points, because those high school strength programs are really geared towards making the group as a whole better, right? If my average guy can kick your average guy's ass, we're good to go.
Win.
And that's exactly what you need to be doing. However, that does leave a couple opportunities, a couple gaps for us to be able to come in and say, hey, we need to work more lower back training. We need to get some of these specialized equipment in here, or even just start that ball rolling. So maybe the next time that team decides, hey, we got to do an upgrade of our facilities, you know, what do we need? Well, hey, we know this is helping our elite level guys out. They can probably help our younger guys out and develop them better too. Absolutely, that'd be a great investment to get one of these glute ham raises and throw that in your gym for sure.
Especially because, I mean, you can bring the bottom up, but that also makes the top go up higher too. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. Awesome, guys. So Gabe's a little taller than me, so we're gonna have to go up a little bit. So we're gonna bring this up a bit. Bring it up one. Just one. Should be underneath 15. So if you do happen to have a back extension, we can actually hit different things based on where we position that pad, either in here or in a regular back extension, a 45-degree extension. So what we're looking at is where does the pad fit in relationship to the anatomy of the body. So if I put that pad, whatever I put that pad on and stabilize, the joint above it is going to be where we put most of the strain in that movement, okay? So if I put this pad at the level of Gabe's hip joint, which we'd find by finding his greater trochanter out here on his hip, then I'm isolating, I'm blocking essentially the hip, and now I'm going to put all that strain in the lower back. If I want to work more of like a hamstring on, again, a traditional 45-degree extension, I'm going to place that pad a little bit below that greater trochanter, and now as I push back, I'm going to see that hinge point actually rest more on the hamstrings and glutes. So for here, we don't want that. We want a back extension movement. So we're going to try to get this bar when Gabe bends over to it. So you're going to get a little bit of a forward lean, bring your feet back a little more, there, almost like you're laying into the bar, okay? So now from this position, you're going to bend down, grab that small red band, you're going to put it over your neck. Yep. Get the whole thing you can. Okay. And now we're going to squeeze the glutes, isolate here, and squeeze into your back to come up. Okay, squeeze in the back. Good. Okay, let's come on back down. That's a little bit too much weight. We're gonna drop that band one. Keep your neck nice and isolated here, so I want you not being in so much flexion. Go ahead and bend your head, or extend your head back. Good, keep your head extended back. Okay, come on down. Squeeze through here, keep your head extended back, and come on up. Squeeze to the back, good. You feel it there? Yeah, good. Now alternatively, to kind of help him with the neck, yes, he can go ahead and put his hands around the band. So go ahead and place your hands around the band, it'll help you a little bit more there, keep the band in position where you want it. Again, isolate the back, extend, bring forward, flex forward, okay, isolate here, squeeze up. You should feel all that being in the back, okay? All right, go ahead and put it down. This is a great exercise to be doing, especially at this point in the training in the training day, because he's probably going to start being fatigued. So let's put him in a position where he can still build, but he's definitely starting that process of recovery. So Gabe, you're going to jump up, grab these handles, right? And then we're going to go 15, okay?
Now, obviously, it's great to have a piece of equipment like this, but they could probably, if somebody doesn't have access to this, they could probably set up something similar with that safety squat bar in the rack.
They could. One of the things I will say that makes the
Copyright
so unique and so awesome, though, that everyone should have one if they can, is really the idea that here, when Gabe's up in this position, his back is actually becoming deloaded because it's resting on this pad. So that pad is actually creating a stable foundation for him, and then the weight is actually helping distract the spine because that force is being pulled down to the lower back and opening up those joints a little bit. When you watch this, he is going through full spinal flexion and full spinal extension, which is a great thing for him because it creates a process called imbibition, where we're actually starting to get fluid pumped in and out of the spine, which is again helping for recovery. So actually, Gabe, on the next one, I want to see your hips a little bit up higher so it can support the back a little bit more. But yeah, if you had to get some lower back work in, absolutely, you could set that up in a rack. Again, gravity's really our friend here on this one, which is what makes the
copyright
so awesome and such a great addition to any strength program.
Beautiful.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell on that notification. Always be on the lookout for more great content from Elite FTS.